Hello, welcome to Studio Nicole. I'm Nicole, and I'm so glad that you're here. We are working on days 26 through 30 in my 100 Days of Art Journaling Techniques project. I'm doing 5 days at a time just because I already have a lot of other creative projects going. So it's not a matter of making sure I create every day, which I know is sort of the gist of the 100-day project to begin with, but I kind of am already doing that, and so yeah, I'm trying to just give myself permission to work in chunks because that works better for my current schedule and still gives me a little bit of time to work on some other creative projects as well. So we're starting with background techniques because I always tend to start with the background. I've chosen to do number 6, a gel plate print background, and I pulled this one out of my stash. It is mostly blues, but it's got some shimmer to it, depending on the light. And there's lots of like yummy layers in the background from like ghost prints, like things that I was pulling up off of the plate. So this is a pretty good fit for this page. So I'm going to just attach it right on here and let it work as the background. I'm not going to do anything else. It's a very close fit. The page size, like the page was like torn just the littlest bit. So it's not a complete square or rectangle. I'm sorry, but it's really close. So as far as I'm concerned, that is good enough. And I do like this print. And I have a whole drawer full of jelly prints that I don't necessarily use often enough. So I'm glad to be able to just use this as is. It's going to save me a ton of time. And it's going to create a gorgeous, like pre-made layered background. I'll probably just trim the edge. Of course, I just threw something on the floor. All right. Just trimming that edge off a little bit, but there we are. Look, day 26, gel plate print background done. I am teaching a gel plate workshop in person coming up in the next couple of months. So if you are local and you're interested in learning more about it, let me know and I will tell you what we're doing. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk through the next few items all together and see if we can kind of build it because they kind of interact a little bit. So I do want to do continuous line drawing, and I'm not going to draw an item because drawing like a picture of something over top of this is just too cluttered. There's too much going on. It's not going to stand out. But I do like to do a background, not a background, I'm sorry, like a border. That's the word. I like to do a border, and usually I do that with like a Stabilo, but I thought maybe I would try to just do one continuous line to draw sort of a messy background around the edge to sort of contain it because it is a very messy background. Um, I'm not lifting my pen up. I'm trying to keep the continuous line. I know this is not exactly probably what the prompt like meant, but this is the way I'm doing it. All right, so that sort of creates a continuous line. I am also going to use the same strategy on the layer that I do next, which is going to be a transparent vellum overlay. Now, these next 3 pieces really do fit together. I have transparent vellum overlay. So I've got some vellum here. And then I have layered transparency focal image. And then I have transparent journaling on vellum. So those 3 things are all going to work together. And I'm thinking this is what I'm going to do as my focal image. I'm going to do a word instead of an image. I'm going to do the word enough because this is something that I constantly like work through sort of over and over and over again in my mind is like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? I feel drawn to constantly do more. And so one of my internal struggles is always like learning to stop and step back and let go and let things just sort of be enough. So that's a recurring theme for me. If that's not for you, then, I certainly would encourage you to come up with something that you think works really well for whatever's going on in your life. Now, I am tearing this vellum roughly on purpose. I did not want a nice flat edge. I tore it um, kind of wonky so that that would be like very apparent. I'm trying to do this other edge. It's not as easy, but all right. And then lastly, I've got this edge. Okay. So here's what I was thinking, and I probably won't use all of this, but I was thinking I would layer this down on the page, and then I'm going to journal on top of it using a white gel pen. And the journaling will be sort of transparent on top of the vellum. It's not going to really show up. Oh, my white pen is not really working. I will tell you, I have the worst luck with white pens. I think they just don't work for me ever. Um, I'm just going to start up in this corner and then I'll tear the paper down if I don't use it all because I don't need all of the journaling to show up. So I'm not super worried about it. I do want to put something behind it so I can kind of see at least where I'm writing and keeping my lines like straight-ish. Um, so I'll speed this part up so you don't have to watch me journal. Okay, I am back and I've done my journaling and not only is it, sorry, there's a weird shadow right there. Not only is it just hard to read because it's white on vellum, but it also came through really spotty. Like the ink just does not come out smoothly for me. I don't know. I tried three different pens. Um and none of them really worked great. But that's okay. I'm going to layer it on here because it says like transparent writing. Isn't that what it said? Where's the paper? Transparent journaling on vellum. So I was like, well, it's certainly transparent, all right. Half of it you can't even see. So here's what I want to do. I want to put these letters. Where did the N go? Oh my goodness. Whew. All right. I'm gonna maybe I'll overlap them just a little bit so that it doesn't take up as much space. L G H. That's really a lot bigger than I kind of thought it would be. Um, but okay. All right. So be it. Okay. Before I attach it, I'm going to attach these on here onto this vellum, and then I'm going to attach the vellum down. So I'm going to use a stapler to staple each one on. I am overlapping them a little bit and trying to kind of make them not entirely straight because, I think that that just gives a little more visual interest that way. They don't need to line up perfectly. I sort of don't want them to do that. Okay, so now I have these transparent letters layered on top of the vellum with the journaling behind it. I'm going to trim the journaling down because I don't need all this extra space. I am going to redo this blind. Ooh, am I? Those down. I was thinking that I would redo this blind, not blind contour, but the continuous line drawing. I wanted to make like another border, but this pen is not writing very well on the vellum. I mean, I have already started, so now I'm sort of committed to it. And I don't feel like getting another piece of vellum and starting the whole process all over again because that seems like a long process and we're aiming for um, no perfection anyway, right? We don't expect anything to be perfect. So I don't like to redo things unless they're really bothering me or driving me crazy. All right, so this is what I've got. I had pink staples in here, so that's what I have. I don't know if you can really pick up the pink on camera very much, but they're pretty. They kind of stand out a little bit on here. So I'm just going to layer this over top of this background, and now I have this continuous line drawing out here along with a continuous line drawing sort of in here. I'm going to glue this down. The journaling is in the background. We've got a vellum overlay, and we have transparency, layered transparency. Now, I don't know that a glue stick is going to be the best option for this. I probably will staple it down on the page. I'm going to use the glue stick to just hopefully keep it in place. And then maybe I will add a couple staples right there. Maybe over here. I'm trying to lift these little things up. Okay. I mean, I feel like I need another one here, but this stapler isn't going to reach. So maybe just a dab of wet glue in that corner. We'll see if that works, if that holds it down. I'm not sure if it will or not, but it's not coming off because of the staples that I did put on here. But this corner kind of lifts up. So if I have to address that later, I will. All right, folks, this is it. The page came together pretty quickly. I have a whole background. I'm not sure that I love this light blue with the orange in the background. This was definitely a learning jelly print, right? Where I was just like cleaning off layers and layering on top of. I don't know that I love those colors together, but it works. And look, it's peeling off already. Maybe I just use a regular staple. Oh, I'll just use my big stapler and put a regular staple in. It won't be dark to match the other ones, but it'll keep it on there. All right, folks. There's the whole 5 art journaling techniques in 14 minutes. I think that might be a record. This is one of the fastest pages I've pulled together. All right, so I've got those marked. Let me mark these as done. This one and this one. I'll go ahead and write these on the back of the page like I've been doing. And then I will post it and I'm all caught up for at least a couple more days for now. Thanks so much for joining me. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, folks.